I don't think I could have gotten here without you. It's okay to be you. You don't need the validation from outside. It's from inside. A whole new me.
Welcome to the She Speaks to Inspire podcast. I'm your host, Julia Kraft, your authentic expression mentor and public speaking coach. She Speaks to Inspire is an empowering public speaking podcast for women with public speaking fear. Unlike other podcasts on public speaking, She Speaks to Inspire not only gives you tips to be a confident communicator under pressure, but also helps you regulate your nervous system for less anxiety, learn lifestyle practices to reduce burnout and overwhelm, and reconnect with your feminine leadership presence for more authenticity and comfort in your skin. I believe it's the quiet ones, especially the quiet women, who have the most important ideas. I believe the world really does need your voice. So let's dive in. Excited about today's episode because it's something new and special for you. Today, I'm going to introduce you to one of the women that has gone through my programs and has had amazing results, and I hope that it's inspiring to you. I can talk all day about all these amazing things that you can do with your voice and how you can shift and grow your confidence. But I think there's something about hearing it from an actual woman who made the transformation recently and probably is very similar to your situation that can really help to motivate you and inspire you to take the leap for yourself, whether it's working with me and my programs or doing whatever else feels like the right next step for you. Overall, with my podcast and my work, I'm always just supporting women to grow, to face their fears, and ultimately to make a difference through their voice. So today I have the privilege of introducing you to Helen. Helen is a professional woman in a leadership role who started working with me shortly after she had just gotten a new job, which was after being laid off during COVID. Maybe you can relate to this. She was nervous about this new job. She was trying to find herself again after being laid off or not working for a while. And her new opportunity, new job, had a lot more leadership elements and speaking opportunities, which was great. She was so honored to have this new job opportunity, but also really terrified about it. Something you also learn about Helen is that she has ADHD. Now, a really common thing that I hear from all women is that it's hard to find the words. Your mind's going a million miles an hour all over the place, and this is why you blank out. If you relate to that, then you'll definitely relate to Helen's experience. What I love about how Helen approached this training and this work is that she got really curious about where her blind spots were. And she wasn't afraid to invest time and energy. And you'll hear how the shifts she made within herself and with her communication at work and at home was key to the success that she's getting now, to the fulfilling experiences that she's having now. So I hope it's inspiring for you. Let's dive in. I want you to hear it right from Helen.
So I've been through the interview process with my dream job. They reached out to me to apply for this position, and I do have the experience that they need. It's been really great. They're calling me a unicorn because I have a very unique skill set. It is definitely a reflection of the work that you and I have done together. And it was such a critical part in this that I didn't even really know, but it was the right thing. And it's helped me out so much. I've been able to present to my executive team some proposals, and I'm speaking to the executives. And that is huge because that was my biggest fear. Still, I quake in my boots. I'm not going to say I don't, but it's definitely a lot more confidence in my speaking with them. And I feel it's getting better one step at a time.
That's awesome. Well, I'll invite you to think back to where you were.
I was coming out of a sabbatical. I took 18 months off during COVID, and you steered me in the right direction with that, with the interview questions and how to answer. And it felt really good to do that interview at the time and, have my dream job calling me. And I still haven't forgotten what you taught me.
Oh, that's so cool. And that's a bit of a promotion, right?
Yeah, it was a promotion. Yeah, it's definitely a bigger deal, honestly.
Fancy Helen stepping into the inner circle. That's
Oh,
awesome.
and you know what the best thing is a lot of the people that I would be working with are people I've been building relationships with for probably 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the people I know really well.
That's so interesting. So you've done a lot of the legwork or background work of
Mhm.
maintaining or creating relationships, maintaining relationships over time, which is really, that's a communication skill. Is there
Mhm.
anything that you, in retrospect, could share with our listeners about how to do that effectively?
I think it's just being yourself. You taught me to be authentic, and I'm definitely doing everything I can to be authentic. I still get choked up just knowing that I can be authentic.
I've always appreciated that about you in particular, that you wear your emotions a bit on your sleeve. And that actually is very endearing, especially in the kind of work that you do, which is a little bit more serious, formal.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And people don't want you, they want a serious person because they're going to take you seriously. And I don't always take myself seriously. I laugh at myself when I do like silly things. Why not? It just, I mess up sometimes. And what am I going to do? I say the wrong thing. So you apologize and move on. But yeah, I
Or
love
not, and just sort of like allow it to be. Because what I love about you as well, that you've been embracing over our time together, is that you don't have to like fit into some box of what being professional looks like in order to be successful and provide a lot of value. And this new job offer that's come to you, I guess I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but the fact that they reached out to you and asked you to apply tells me that you as yourself and all the work that you've been doing for years is really appreciated.
Yeah, that's exactly what I felt too. I felt the appreciation. I feel like I can play in the big leagues with them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little bit of, peacock going on over here.
That's fun. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
let's think back more specifically about your communication skills. So, what would you say was your biggest challenge around speaking moments, communication, the thing that really made you the most uncomfortable or stressed?
At the time, I had learned that I am one of the neurodiverse people. I was so terrified because the thoughts come so fast and my mouth didn't work as fast as my brain did. So I was always trying to fit more of detail than I needed to. And now you've taught me how to feel where the tension is, feel what's happening, and when you need to kind of step back. Content formula. Why do you want people to know this? I think that was the most challenging thing, is really tailoring your message to who's on the other side. So it was a try, it was quite a few things that made me nervous. I didn't like public speaking at all.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, it was something you had avoided a bit.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
And in retrospect, do you think avoiding speaking and like speaking up, being sort of visible and like taking a stand, maybe any of these things, do you think that held you back in your career at all?
Yes, to a certain extent it did. I felt like I had to educate and have all the degrees and the certifications and all of that. And I realized it helped. But if I had the certifications and I couldn't speak up, it wouldn't help. It definitely has helped.
Yes. Okay. Your biggest challenge, if I had to boil it down from what you said, you talked about being neurodiverse. And I think that's a really good term to sort of sum up what your experience was. Though I remember you at that time saying that you were having ADHD symptoms. So I just want to call out that word because I hear this from clients a lot. ADHD, ADD, that kind of thing. And
Mhm.
or the kind of things that you said of my thoughts move so fast, I can't get it out my mouth. So those are actually quite common symptoms, but let's put the label on it as neurodiverse, which is You could just say everybody's mind works differently, right?
Mhm. Right.
Is there anything else you can share about your experience, your personal experience of neurodiversity and how that relates to communication?
Yes, actually, what I realized is that people don't always know. I'm not a one-hit wonder when it comes to thinking. I have tons of thoughts going on all at once. Sometimes people can't keep up with me, so I have now started to let them know. Look, this is how I work. I process out loud. You stop me if I get, give you too much. And they've learned, and people adapt when you speak up and tell them how your brain works.
Yeah. So I love that you've really owned what you need instead of making yourself wrong for it.
Hmm.
And I would imagine that's helped with the anxiety and nerves. What impact has it had on you to own that?
Yeah, the nerves are calmed down. I have started to slow down and think before I speak. Doesn't always work, but it's definitely becoming more of a habit.
I feel the certainty in how you're speaking now in terms of owning who you are and owning your power within the company. I don't love the word power because women often don't like that word. But I think you know what I mean. Of just like that you have agency, that you matter, that people respect you.
Yep. Somebody pulled me to the side recently, and this is a message that my current coworkers and my husband and a lot of people have conveyed to me. But this was somebody who actually is very respected in the company, and she goes, "Helen, they need you more than you need them, right?" I've never had anybody tell me that, and I'm like, "What do you mean?" They're like, they can't do this without you. You hear it from your family, it's one thing, but you hear it from a colleague. Wow, how'd I get here? And she's like, no, seriously, it's not just me saying that. So that was really powerful for me because I have never felt valued that much. That's a big deal.
It is a big deal. And I'm just so glad to hear that you really received it because it's so interesting. I mean, and I think I've done it in my life too, that receiving compliments or affirmation, it can easily bounce off of us, right? Or we push it away. I'm really glad you received that, allowed it to be true, allowed it to mean something to you because it does. Yeah. So what would you say if you look back on all the practices that you did, which I know that you were very dedicated to learning new practices, doing them on a regular basis, and implementing them in your real world situations. What were some of the practices that made the biggest difference for you?
Floppy body. And you know what? I did that every single time that I recently interviewed with my dream job. And I thought about you, and I'm like, I need to reach out and say, I floppy bodied today because I have never floppy bodied as much as I did. But there's something about letting go of that tension because, me, I'm extremely tense. I my shoulders show it all the time. And that just kind of like loosens you up and you really feel like, I'm just going to say what I'm going to say. I'm just going to be me. I felt it was well received. I mean, I could feel it in the interview. There was a lot of connection with everybody I interviewed with.
Good. And even hearing you say that you could feel it in the interview room tells me that you're enough out of your own head that you can even notice what's happening in the room. And that for the women listening, like they might not be in that place yet where they can even notice, right? We're so
Right.
worried about what people are thinking. So that's awesome that you were even aware of it. Okay, so we got floppy body, the tension release exercise, floppy body. Any other practices that have really been game changers for you?
Content formula for sure. Well,
Mhm.
why do I want to tell this person this? I have a tendency to blurt. So that has been a huge challenge. Sometimes there's no filter. There's sometimes that I have to process things and I say things that, I might not need to tell that person. So slowing that myself down enough to just kind of put it into a logical format is very helpful for me because I am very logic driven. Formulas are my favorite. And that put it into a formula for me. So I know how to go through it in my head before I say things.
Anything else to maybe highlight one more that's been helpful to you?
Posing is the other one, the Wonder Woman stance. Bringing your arms out and almost like receiving. When you put your arms out, it's receiving the good that's going to come your way. and really being a lot more positive, because I was very pessimistic, I think, before I started speaking with you. It was just a very odd time in my life. And there's like so much relief from all of that weight that I had. So in a way, you were also therapy for me. That's really what helped me get to the place I am. Definitely more peace in my life.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm so glad to hear that. Personally, I'm really glad. We all have those times in life, right? Whether it's job related, personal stuff. I've had women who work with me and end up either leaving a relationship or finding a relationship. So I find that these skills and the confidence that you build can really help you express yourself in personal relationships too. And I know that you have a really healthy, strong relationship with your husband, but just curious, do you feel like anything has shifted in how you show up?
Absolutely. We are definitely better at communicating our emotions, validating them, and finding a way to move past the emotion and not fuse with it, because we talk constantly about our lives. So it's definitely encouraged more conversation between us. And actually, he learned a lot too, because he was watching the floppy body.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
And, he'd listen to some of the videos and he's like, oh, that's interesting. And now he's benefited too.
As you're talking, I'm remembering more about our sessions and remembering how one of the biggest shifts that we were working on over time and I work on this with almost every woman that I coach, is a shift from being up in our head to being in our body. So I'd be really curious, as a very smart, intellectual, heady, data-oriented woman, what has been your journey to shift from your head into your body to be a better communicator?
Grounding myself and really feeling it go from here inside the brain to, hey, what's going on with my jaw? What's going on with my neck? And then just kind of doing that body scan and then going, wait, you're on the ground. You're fine. And by the time I'm on my feet, I'm like, I'm not even thinking about what's going on in my brain anymore. I'm able to focus more on the conversation and not lose track.
It was a really great description of the energy moving down through your body. And then by the time you get to your feet, you're steady, you're grounded, you're okay. That was a really great description. And I remember us a similar thing, like working on burnout, right? Overwhelm, burnout, keeping yourself in balance. And a lot of women, when they come to work with me, don't realize that we're going to work on those kind of things because they think we're going to be working on like speaking skills and stuff. So I'm just really curious to hear your thoughts and encouragement of professional women out there around burnout and overwhelm.
I still struggle with it, and it's little habits, and accepting who I am.
Yes. And I remember us working on both boundary setting with yourself and with others, like speaking your boundaries, as well as you speaking to ask for help.
Yes.
Was a big part of finding more balance.
Yes. I've actually had to do that at work lately, because I am the only expert in my field at this job. And it got to a point where everybody was coming to me for everything. And I finally went to one of the stakeholders who's a highly respected leader. I told him, I said, I'm getting overwhelmed. I need help. I don't always know what kind of help I need. So we had a conversation about it, and he goes, okay, I think I know what you need. Let's see what we can do. And now there's a huge group of people coming in and helping and doing the things that I can't do. So it's been huge to ask for help. It was also uncomfortable, but I knew I had to do it.
This is a great point. And it can be that simple. Like, you don't know what kind of help you need, but you just say, I feel overwhelmed. I need help. That's simple. And then someone comes in and helps you figure out what you need. So taking that first step, like you said, it can be uncomfortable, but would you say that the more you do it, it gets a little easier?
It does. It does.
And maybe you're not getting to the point where you're like crashing and burning anymore, right?
No, definitely not crashing and burning. A little bit of burn maybe once in a while, but yeah, a lot less crashing. At least I can put the fire out, right? The crash
Yeah.
is a lot harder.
Yeah, good. Well, I just want to remind the women listening that what you're saying is to use your voice to take good care of yourself and at the same time take good care of your responsibilities at your job, right? Those two things go hand in hand. And so I'm really proud of how you've done that and continue to do that. And it's an art, right? Like you'll just always be meeting the moment with what's coming up and doing your best. So that's
Mhm.
awesome.
Exactly. I do have to thank you. I don't think I could have gotten here without you.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Is there any last thoughts that you have for the women listening? Any encouragement for them or recommendations?
Take some time to be with yourself, and it's okay to be you. You don't need the validation from outside, it's from inside. And I'm going to start crying now because that's just how I roll, right?
I love it. I love it. And like, let me just reflect back to you how concise you just were. Like super concise, clean, complete sentences. Amazing.
Who is this? I don't know what you did over here, but you
That
definitely
was
helped me create
beautiful.
a whole new me. Thank you.
Yeah. I hope you enjoyed this interview with Helen about her time in Speak to Inspire programs. It has been my honor as her coach to support her along the way. I am always touched by the growth and transformation that I see in my clients. If you want to experience a transformation like you heard about in Helen, I recommend scheduling a complimentary consult call with me where we can explore your current challenges around speaking, communication, and confidence, and clarify your goals for the future. Where do you want to be in a year when it comes to your career, when it comes to your self-esteem, when it comes to your ability and comfort speaking up? I promise that this will be the most productive 30 minutes that you've spent on yourself all year. And I also promise that this is not a hard sales call. It's actually a very soft sales call in that we're really there to explore, are we a good fit to work together? Can I actually help you get where you want to go? And then is it practical? Does it make sense to get started at that time? So head over to speaktoinspire.com, schedule a consult, and I can't wait to support you. The world truly does need your voice. Thanks for listening. This has been She Speaks to Inspire with Julia Kraft, your authentic expression mentor and public speaking coach. I'm so glad you joined me. And I hope you got so much out of this episode. If you want to learn more about Speak to Inspire training programs and get inspired, head over to speaktoinspire.com or follow us on Instagram at She Speaks to Inspire. Never forget, the world needs your voice, and it's time for you to speak to inspire. See you in the next episode.